I'm not sure you probably, oops, there we go. I went on at 6 live like we do every Wednesday in Dockside. And Catherine, as you know, she's been doing a million things today, and volunteering, I think, was why she couldn't do it at 6, but she probably can explain later. But I was talking all about last Wednesday's conversation with The Science of Getting Rich and how excited I am about this book, because it really challenges me, like in a very positive way. So I did that live at 6, and then I told everybody to come back for 6:45. I hope they're here. But we want to sort of do this every week. I just want to remind everybody we're doing this every week at 6:45. And as most of you know, here in Dockside, you will know that Karine is leading our book club. It's called Rich Thinking to Grow. And right now we are doing it, not right now, we're doing it at 7:00 on Wednesday nights. And Karine is our fearless leader. And we are going to talk first today, right now, we're going to talk about Think and Grow Rich. So, right, Karine?
Yes, we are. Yes.
As a matter of fact,
we are talking about the chapter on faith, and we have been discussing for the last few weeks the self-confidence formula in the chapter on faith. And we started talking last week about the 4th step. And I'm going to just read out all of the steps up to step 4, up to and including step 4. There are 5 steps, just for anybody who is following along. And if anybody wants to go and see what we've discussed in the past few weeks, they are recorded and they are available to you on Dockside. So just hop onto there and you can go back and you can see what we've talked about in the previous.
Right, you can just scroll through. Now, just remind everybody, these are the 5 specifically for self-confidence, right?
Yes, exactly. Okay. So this is the 5 steps in the self-confidence formula. Self-confidence formula. First step. I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. Second, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. Third, I know through the principle of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. And tonight's special. I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim in life, and I will never stop trying until I shall have developed sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. So we spoke last week about, again, they talk about definite chief aim, and that's a new term.
Right.
That was one of the things we covered.
It was a new term. And for those of us that get stuck on words like me, it threw me.
Your favorite word stuck.
It's true. You got me. You got me. But it is true that those are the things that they stand out for me. And I immediately was like, aim? Nobody talked about aim. We're talking about goals. So I thought that was really interesting. The other thing that I realized as you were reading the first one, The Science of Getting Rich, one of the things that we got out of our conversation last week that I wrote physically in my book, which I never do, as you know, was that it's a sin to not live up to your full potential. And it reminds me of that first step for the self-confidence, where they say you have to believe that you can achieve it, right? Isn't that kind of what they say?
You demand of yourself the persistent, continuous action. But in step 4, we're writing it down. So all of those things were things that you were thinking about.
I know.
And now it's time to hone in, and commit to something, and write it down.
And I think the self-confidence part that I'm getting from Napoleon Hill is you're doing yourself a disservice. Like if you don't do this, almost, do you know what I mean? Like, and Catherine and I have talked about this too, where the best gift you can give to those you love is to be the best version of yourself. So all of this self-confidence that he's talking about, all of this, you know, now you're going to write down because you're committing and you're saying like, I am capable of doing this. I am doing this, right?
The little train who could. I think I can. I think I can. I know I can. I know I can. You keep repeating it exactly. And then one of the other things that probably you grew up with as well as I did was you dress for the job that you want to have when you are a career person. Definitely. You don't dress for the job that you're in or behave for the job you're in. You dress and you behave for the job that you're aiming for. So this is really what they're talking about. The person I intend to become.
I will give you the stat, and if I have a moment, maybe, well, probably next week I'll do it. There's a statistic that says that when women are applying for a job, they need to have about 75, I'm averaging for a second, 75% of the skills or experience that the job is requesting, whereas men only go, like they'll apply if they only have 25% of the skills or experience that the job is requesting. And that goes to kind of the self-confidence thing. You know, they're just basically saying, I can do it. I'll do it. I'm going to apply. I'm going to show I can do it. And it's like you were saying with even the way, you know, you dress for the job you want, not the job you currently have, because you're already, you know, you're capable of more. You're capable of getting it.
Yeah, it's going to be yours. And you see it and you're preparing yourself. So now
she's got the book.
That's it. How could we not guess that, Kim, you'd have this?
You have it right there.
Son of a gun. It's unbelievable.
I swear she has a library literally in front of her. She just goes,
book.
Well, I couldn't help but overhear you. It's one of my favorites.
Oh my gosh, but it's such a beautiful message, you know? So what is your definite chief aim in life? It is that thing that you want. And telling yourself that you can is just as powerful as all those people in your life that in your youth maybe told you you can't, or you don't know how to do that, or, you know, maybe you should take it easy. All of those things get planted in your subconscious, and don't let it. And you can do the opposite. You can clean those things out with affirmation. Talked about auto suggestion in the third step, but repeating to yourself that you can, and you know, and you are good enough, and you are better, and you are whatever you want to plant in your subconscious, auto suggestion. And now this step, write it down and make a commitment to it.
Right. I love this. It reminds me of our vision mapping. We're going to be doing the intro to vision mapping program coming up, because, and this also came out of last week's book club, people don't want money. They want what money can get them. So when Napoleon Hill is asking you for your, what does he call it? Not the deliberate aim. What was the word he uses this week?
Definite chief aim.
Definite chief aim. It definitely sounds very corporate, doesn't it? Your definite chief aim. It's not $1 million. I can tell you that right now. You might think you want $1 million, but you don't actually want $1 million. You want $1 million to get you something else. So what is it you want? And that's where I struggled when I first did vision mapping with Catherine, because first she got me to figure out, okay, what is it I want? And I figured out what I wanted. And then she's like, okay, put a dollar value to it. And I was like, oh, that's very hard. That is very hard.
You think that's hard? I think it would have been harder to say, how much money do you want without knowing what it is that you want? I think that this approach of labeling what you want and then filling in the dollar amount is much easier.
So it's so funny. Sorry, Catherine, you go. I can't hear you.
No, can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. So if you follow the directions, and you know, I read books, study books, break them up, analyze
Tear them apart,
throw out the stuff I don't want, because I know what I want and what I don't want. And I hope that happens to everybody in this community. Hope you get to the point that you read a book, no matter how good the counsel is, it doesn't work for you and you don't apply it. I do that all the time, but it doesn't take away all the good stuff. And in this book, specifically in the steps, it's almost a goal setting exercise. They call desire or definiteness of purpose.
Definiteness of purpose.
Exactly. And one of the things that I find is that they ask you to start with the money. And I do that now. I tell you start with the money because inevitably you have one or two things happen to you. One, you're asking way more than you even need, or you're not asking enough. But very rarely, if you think of a bullseye on a dartboard or you know, the arrow, what do you call that? You take an arrow and you shoot an arrow to hit a spot. Archery. So if you think that the goal is in the center and you're holding the arrow, and I guarantee you're going to aim it. I guarantee you're going to aim it in the wrong way. And I guarantee you're going to end up where you want to really be. I guarantee you, stop worrying about it. If I told you, yeah, but I can't really see, I'm blind. Doesn't matter. Pull the thing there. What's it, the bow? Pull it. Karine, go watch that.
I was going to say it's 7 o'clock. I'm watching the
Go
puck
watch
drop,
it.
the Habs
Go.
versus the
Oh.
Leafs, and I'll be right back
Oh,
for book club.
perfect.
Oh, Canada. Go.
Yeah. So, yeah, and you pull the arrow. Pull it. I guarantee you it's going to land exactly where it's supposed to.
So I will remind you that people want to come in for book club and you're still live on Facebook.
So I would love if I get permission from anybody that comes in. Roxanne, we're in Facebook. I'd love to spend a few minutes live in Facebook in what book club looks like, if everybody's open to it. I would love you, Roxanne, to share your insight because you've been here for 3 years in book club.
Well, maybe she stepped away.
Yeah, possible. She's waiting for us to finish. When really?
Well, we can do that and we can explain. If you allow me, I will go.
I'd love it.
All right. So just if anybody has been watching the whole time, you saw that I was reading the self-confidence formula. So if I give you an example, I would say fourth, I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim in life, and I will never stop trying until I shall have developed sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. And then if I want to stop reading at that point, I will just say pass. And then anybody else who wants to join in will join in and start reading. That being said, you don't have to read. For anybody who's on Dockside and who is thinking about joining book club, you don't have to read. You don't have to talk. You don't even have to have the book really, because other people will read and you can participate and you cannot participate. There's never homework. There's no behind. So even if you haven't read a single line of this book or you don't even know what we're talking about yet, it's time to still get in. It's never too late. It's never too early. Your timing is always perfect. So you are all welcome to join us and we would love for you to come in. So if this is, you're watching a recorded version of this, we do book club on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. You can get the link by going onto sagenavigation.ca, and you will, as soon as you sign up for book club, you will receive the link, you will receive the information, and you will receive the link every week. And we would be happy to have you. It's a great, great journey, and we always have great discussions. And as Kim would say, meaningful and meaningless conversation. So we know that everybody who joins us every week really gets a lot out of it. And we also get a lot out of it ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. I really thank you. It was well said. I'm going to stop the recording now. And anybody sitting here wondering, well, should I join? Stop wondering. I don't know what you're going to get, but I know you're going to get something. And most often, and I can attest that just recently, I've had a couple of situations, adversity, I would say, obstacles, as Napoleon Hill would say, mostly adversities. So learning from adversity is a really wonderful thing. And you can't predict what you're going to get. But I will tell you, the gift you get is always more. They say when you have something happen and you experience adversity, it's because there's something of equal value or better on the way. And the truth is, it's so clear. And just look around you. If you're so busy, like today, like I don't think I could have put one more thing. I didn't come to talk to you at 6:45 because I just needed a minute to catch my breath. And I did everything I had to do. And I did one thing. I made a decision. I neglected me. So I need 10 minutes to just splash some water on my face and put a cozy sweater and remind myself that it's a wonderful fall day. So thank you. Thank you.
Before we go, I would just like to point something out to anybody who's watching, is that Karine is becoming, or have you received it already? Your accreditation with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. So not only do we have an amazing community that we share this with, and is our book club, I will say, a lot of fun and very enriching, we have an expert among us who is really able to guide the conversation, who has been studying this, I will say forever, very exaggeratedly, but forever. And not only has she been studying this, she is now accredited, and she has followed a program with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. So off we go.
Thank you for that. And I would add that I feel very grateful. And I feel that it's when something comes up, I say, oh yeah, that goes with that. And I had the ultimate compliment today from a dear friend that's known me, I guess for 40 years. And he's on a project that we're working on that you'll hear about in a year from now. But that particular project, what he did say is, you do realize I didn't know that you live those principles. And it's not that I live them. It's you can't help when you grow. It's like once you see, you can't unsee. What you can do is choose the parts that you want to work. And you don't want to miss vision mapping. It's the last time it'll happen this year. It's 4 Tuesday nights. And, reach out to us, because what that does for you is you walk away with clarity, confidence, and you have courage. So on that note, I'm going to stop the recording.